So before we go in depth into everything eyelash extensions, let's talk about the basics, which you may know, but it's always worth doing a good quick refresher. So what is an eyelash extension adhesive made of? It is a type of glue and it's designed to bond the artificial eyelashes to the natural lash. It's usually made up of a combination of cyanoacrylate, which is a type of resin. It's actually an acrylic resin. So when we're talking about glue, we're actually talking about acrylic resin. And then there's other ingredients involved as well. There's solvents, preservatives, there's stabilizers, and other things that we'll go on to and into as well. I always recommend having two different types of adhesive available on hand no matter what. And we'll go into why, but those of you who have been lashing for a while or who are brand new, you've learned about humidity and temperature and how there's certain environmental factors that are out of our control. There's also factors that are going to be related to your client's natural lashes. And so when we have two different types of adhesives on hand, we're able to have the flexibility within each appointment to make sure that we can adapt to what's going on around us and what's going on with our client, so that we can make the changes that we need to without having to panic or worry or have anything that we're doing have our speed affected or have our retention affected. So Fix Beauty has two different types of adhesive, and I'll go into the details of when to use them and what makes them different, but we have our expert level adhesive. And when this Fix Pro adhesive is working at its optimal rate, which means all of the environmental factors are great and all of the other things that we're going to talk about in this program over the next little while, then this is a 0.5 second glue and it has 7 to 8 weeks retention. The fixated adhesive is for all artists. I love it. It is a 1 to 2 second dry time depending on all of the other factors, which we'll talk about. And it's 6 to 7 weeks. Really, if you're doing everything right, it's going to have an 8-week retention as well. I love having both on hand, and we'll go into why in this module and then in all the other modules where we're talking about the different products. But for right now, I want to talk about the main components of all eyelash extension adhesives. So basically, you're looking at the two main ingredients. You're going to see cyanoacrylate, which is what forms the strong bond of the adhesive, and then we have carbon black. So other than the case of clear adhesives, any sort of adhesive that's black in color is going to have carbon black. Oftentimes people will have sensitivities and allergies to the carbon black, so that's an interesting thing that you can test out if a client is experiencing sensitivities or allergies to the adhesive that you've used. You're definitely invited to do a sample set with a clear adhesive to see if that does help. It may help, but not always, because typically it is the cyanoacrylate that they're having an issue with, but some cases it can be the carbon black. Additional ingredients that you're going to see in the eyelash extension adhesive is stabilizers. So this ensures that the adhesive has consistency and shelf life. So shelf life is important for the adhesive, and the amount of stabilizer, the amount of retarders, which is what controls the adhesive curing time, which is why you see different lengths of cure time. So you'll see a 0.5 second adhesive or a 1 to 2 second adhesive. That's what controls that and the dry time. And then thickeners are what adjusts the viscosity, or just how thick or thin the adhesive is. You'll find some adhesives out there that are very, very thick and some that are a lot thinner. And then there's also accelerators, which help to speed up the curing process. And those are all things that are inside basically any and all eyelash extension adhesives. So the primary ingredient is cyanoacrylate, and really, really understanding that is going to help you so much in your lash game. So I want you to bear with me as I dive into this, because I know that some of it is going to seem repetitive, but some of it is going to be so valuable. And the more you understand this, the more I promise you it's going to help with everything that you want to do regarding lashes and lash extension, retention, and speed. So like we talked about, this is the primary ingredient, and this is what makes the adhesive bond to the natural lash. It is derived from a fast-acting family of adhesives known for rapid bonding capabilities. It's commonly used in medical and household applications, so stitches at the hospital, dressing wounds, because it's safe for skin, and even in everyday super glues. The adhesive bonds quickly when it comes into contact with moisture, which you know, which is present on the natural lashes, but also can be applied through nanomisters and through cleansing the lashes at the end of the appointment. And this is the ingredient that enables you as a lash pro to attach the extension to the natural lash. Carbon black is another key component in the eyelash extension adhesive that you're going to come across very, very regularly. And this is what provides the deep black color, which is allowing you to give a seamless and natural appearance when the extensions are applied to the natural lashes. It's a safe pigment and it's used in a lot of cosmetic products such as eyeliners and mascaras. It's generally considered safe in use for eyelash extension adhesives, and it should be non-toxic and non-irritating when it's used properly. The additional ingredients that you're going to see inside of eyelash extension adhesives that you're using, and some may contain all of these, some may contain some of them or none of them. But this is what you'll find. So you'll find the stabilizers in here, and this is what prevents premature drying or curing of the glue. It also helps to maintain the adhesive shelf life so that it doesn't dry out on you after you've opened up the bottle. If we didn't have the stabilizers in the adhesive, the glue would dry right away before it's even applied to the lashes. That's how fast the cyanoacrylate would adhere or would polymerize. And that would make it unusable for lash extensions. So when you think about a 0.5 second adhesive or a 1 to 2 second adhesive, the biggest thing impacting that is the ratio and percentage of stabilizers used in the specific ingredient from the manufacturer. So between our fixated and our Fix Pro, you can already tell that we have an increased percentage of a stabilizer ingredient inside the Fix Pro, which is what makes it a 0.5 second adhesive. Other additional ingredients include thickeners, and the thickener is just going to increase the viscosity. So you're going to have a thinner glue, which is going to make it easier to work with during the application process. There's certain adhesives out there that you can find, especially in the older companies that have been around for a longer time that haven't adapted. You'll find thicker adhesives out there, and sometimes people will find that that's better for certain techniques or lash types because it gives you better control. Ideally, you want something right in the middle, because you want to be able to dip down into the glue and then have the glue have enough viscosity that it's going to hold and pick up the tiny little bulb that you see at the end when you do pick it up. And without that thickener in there, it won't be able to pick up enough when you dip it down onto the jadestone, and it's going to come out too thin. You can also find additional ingredients that include retention enhancers and flexibility agents. The flexibility agent is it's what keeps the lash from just becoming brittle and breaking off once the glue has dried. And some adhesives contain flexibility agents, and honestly, having a flexibility agent is really important in the adhesive because it allows for the client to maintain that feeling of a mobile and flexible natural lash, and it can also withstand the normal wear and tear that the client is going to experience without just breaking off. So you'll find that some adhesives may dry really fast and they may work really well for you as the lash pro, but then your client retention is low. And it could be because the manufacturer hasn't included a high enough percentage of flexibility agent within their ingredient of the lash adhesive that they're using. So this shows a bit of a breakdown of what a typical ingredient list would look like for eyelash extension adhesive. So the exact percentage of how they break this down, it varies between manufacturers, and that's what makes some glues incredible and some not work so well. It's also what makes glues perform differently in different temperatures, different humidities, on different lash types, and with different products as well. So no matter what lash adhesive you're looking at and what brand, Cyanoacrylate is going to make up the majority portion of the adhesive, and usually you're going to find it's between 80 and 95% of the total formula used to make up the lash adhesive, and then the remaining ingredients make up the rest in there. So that's, you know, your pigments, your carbon black, and anything else that we talked about on the previous slide. What you want to remember is that each adhesive is uniquely formulated to cater to the requirements that you are looking for as a lash artist, what your skill level is, what your speed level is, but also what the client's natural lash is. And there's a whole bunch of other factors that impact how the glue is going to perform, some of which you can control and some of which you can't. So that's why it's so important to understand how this all works, so that you're not constantly going out and changing brands of lash glue if you haven't went in and reevaluated and taken a look at what the composition or what the factors are that you can control, because it's not always the composition of the ingredients itself, just because a lot of the time you're looking at 80 to 95% of the total formula in all adhesives being a cyanoacrylate. So in this next lesson coming up, we're going to look closer at the composition of the eyelash extension adhesive, and I want to break down the primary components. So I want to talk more about cyanoacrylate and carbon black, and then I want to understand and help you understand the roles of these ingredients and the properties that they have that make it essential for you, so that you can make informed decisions about the adhesive that you're using, ultimately so that you can ensure the best outcome for your clients, and also so that you can increase your speed and increase your retention.